Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining or listening in later on. This is the second in hopefully a series of videos I make on how I use layout containers. Yesterday I did one on social media analytics, which you can find on my YouTube channel. I'll add a link to it at the bottom in the notes for this video. Today I'm going to show you how I built an HR analytics dashboard. So this is generally the idea for what we're going to look for in the dashboard. I've gone ahead and pre-built all of the charts, so we don't need to worry about that. But one additional thing that I did that I'll show you here in a second is on the upper right hand corner, I've gone ahead and added in some additional KPIs just to show you a bit more how you would want to use the layout containers. I again use Balsamiq to help me wireframe the visualization. The big difference here is I'm going to now have, if I could escape out of this, and if I go to, let's see, oh, that's okay. So what I'm going to end up doing essentially is I'm going to put another box kind of right here, and this box is going to have oops, I did the wrong thing, but there's going to be a box there. It's going to have some KPIs in it. So in the end, this is what the dashboard's going to look like. So I have those same, 9 charts that that I'm looking at, but then I also have the title up here along with these kind of key numbers on the upper right hand side. Again, I have all of these pre-built, so we don't have to worry about building the charts. And the idea here also is that if I hover over any of the marks, it should highlight all of the other places. So I need to add that in actually. So I'm going to want to add in a highlight action. And what I want to do is I'm going to just call it highlight. And I wanted to highlight whatever I choose. Okay, I want to do it on hover. So what that means is as I hover on sales, you'll see sales get highlighted everywhere. Marketing, you see marketing, you can see its position within all of these different charts. The other thing that I did, which you'll be able to see if you download the workbook, is I can click on any department and it's going to show me the individual employees within that department, and then it shows the department name next to it. You click on an employee and it goes back to the department level view. So now if I click on customer support, I can see now that it looks like customer support, and I can see Jerry Goodwin and where he stands in all of these. Okay, so the inspiration for this comes from this dashboard from, what's the name of the website? Excel dashboard templates. And it's just really simple. This is literally just a series of KPIs, but I thought it would be more meaningful to have some additional data displayed. So the data they're providing is this here. It's got the person's name, their hire date, salary, bonus, overtime, department, sick days, and their performance rating. So if I look through the different sheets, you'll see that I have all of these. So I didn't include that one, but I've got average salary, total salary, average bonus and total bonus, average overtime and total overtime. That's total overtime pay, average sick days, total sick days, and then average performance rating. I probably should rename this to average overtime pay. That would probably be a bit more clear. Has to be total overtime pay. All right, and then I also created this sheet that has those sort of summary stats that I was looking for. So how are we going to go ahead and build this? I'm going to flip back and forth between these images. So let me scroll down. Let me go one more. Where is that image? Sorry, I need to bring up this wireframe. Okay, so there's our wireframe. That's the one that we're looking to kind of recreate. So we're going to start by creating this kind of black one around the outside. So I'm going to go to dashboard and first change it to floating, and I'm going to drag in a vertical container. I'm going to set the layout, and I'm going to start it at the 0, 0 position. And right now my dashboard is 1,000 by 800. 1,000 by 800, and that's going to fill up the space. Now, if you'll notice, if I make my dashboard wider, let's say make it 1,200, you can see this particular sheet will also become wider. So that's a good thing to do there. And then I'm going to go ahead and change it to floating. I'm sorry, change it back to tiled. Notice how I don't have that like tiled object down here in the item hierarchy. So again, what I'm shooting for here is these KPIs. So I've got this section across the top, I've got a line, and then I have these other sections here. So let me flip back over. So I'm going to actually want a container around these two objects, but I'm going to start by putting a blank object in the dashboard. So I'm going to first drop a blank in there, and I'm going to put in a horizontal container at the top. And this container is going to hold my title. So this is going to be my title. I'll update that in just a second. And let me just go back over here, and I'm going to cheat. And okay, and then next to that is going to be my summary stat. So I'm going to drop that in here to the right. I'm going to hide the title, tell it to fit the entire view, and there we go. Oh, and actually on this outside container, the very outside container, I want to go ahead and add some outer padding. So let's maybe add 20, and I'm going to stick a border on it so we can see what it's doing. Let's see, so maybe like that. Actually, I need to do the inner padding, not the outer padding. So, because I want the border around the outside. 20. There we go. So now you can see my borders around the whole outside. Now this particular sheet here, this particular container, I'm just going to make it a bit bigger so that we can see what it's doing. Drag this over to the left a bit. Okay, maybe a little bit more. All right, so I'm probably going to need to make my dashboard a bit wider. So why don't I go, maybe 1400, something like that, or 1300. Okay, and I think I'm pretty good now, so I can drag that over a bit if I want. Yeah. Okay, something like that. So now that takes care of that first part. So if I go back here, I've drawn a container around the top. Now I want to put this, this line object in here. So I'm going to do that by putting another blank in the container. And oops, let me undo that. On this container, I like the size of this one now, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit the little pin to fix the height of it. That way, as I adjust the height of the dashboard, that won't move around. Okay, I'm going to drag that blank object in. I'm going to set the background color, and I'm going to change the height to maybe 10. And now I want it to go all the way to the edges, so I'm going to go to the layout, and I'm going to just remove any of the outer padding. Okay, so now it goes right up against that. Okay, so that's that part. And now I've got this yellow container, which is going to hold these two blue containers and this purple container. So I need to drag another vertical container in here. And this container, let's see, and then I'm going to just go ahead and drop my footer in here for now. So I'm just going to call this footer. That way I don't have to worry about it later. Footer. That's going to be at the bottom. Okay, all good. I got my blank object, and now I have this this other container. So in that container, I'm going to have two other containers. So you see, I'm actually going to have three other containers. So I've just done this. So let me, maybe if I color code this container, so border, let me make it like orange. So that's going to match the orange that we're doing here. And notice I have three other containers inside of it. So I'm going to move my blank object inside of that container. And I'm going to start by putting in my first, let's see. So let's see here. This is not quite correct. So if I look here at my total, you see I've got this gray section. That's actually another container. So we've got that one here. Okay, let me just play around with this a bit and you'll see. Okay, let's start by dragging in a horizontal container. I'm going to put it in the bottom. And I'm going to start dragging in my different sheets. So that's going to be average sick days, total sick days, and average performance rating. So I'm just going to drag this over here. So average sick days. Let me see if I can get in there. There we go. And hopefully that grabs the container. Yep. And I'm just going to make it a bit bigger. And then I'm going to do total sick days. And I'm going to do average performance rating. And all three of those I'm going to go ahead and set to entire view. I'll worry about the size of them later. Okay, so, and notice how Tableau starts bringing in all these color shelves and everything. I'm going to get rid of all of those later. So now I need a container to go around these other two blocks because those are going to have this kind of gray background around them. So I'm going to drag in another vertical container. And I'm going to move my blank object into that now. So if you look at my hierarchy now, I've got that container. And I've got that container, and now I've got that container. Okay, so let me color code this one. let me color code this one. Maybe the let's set the border to maybe a thick blue so we can see what it's doing. And let me change this one to be maybe a thicker orange. Let's see, there we go. Let's make this a bit of a thicker orange. Okay, so now we can hopefully see what the different sections are doing. Okay, so now inside of this vertical container, I've got my blank, and I want to put 2 horizontal containers inside of it. So I'm going to first drag in a horizontal container. And in this one, let me just make this a bit bigger. In this one, I'm going to drag in my, what do I have here? I've got total pay, or total salary, total bonus, total overtime pay. So total salary, total bonus, and total overtime pay. Okay, again, let's, oops, I didn't want to do that. I want to fit that to entire view, fit entire view, fit entire view. And now I'm going to bring in my other horizontal container, and this one's going to hold my averages. So average salary, average bonus, and average overtime pay. Okay, now I can delete my blank object because I don't need that anymore. And I can see I now have these sections. So if I select this blue container, I'm going to go ahead and set that to distribute contents evenly. All right. So what that's doing now is it's just forcing all of these objects to be the same size. So entire view, and then entire view. But if I do the same thing on this orange container around the outside, if I say distribute contents evenly, you'll see it gave these 2 containers at the top one size and this bottom one twice the size. So you know it's kind of not quite the way we would like it. So let's see here. Now inside of this container, this one has total salary, total bonus, total overtime pay. I'm going to set that to distribute contents evenly. Same thing for my averages. And then same thing for my bottom 3 metrics. Now it doesn't really do anything, but that's okay. And then let me make sure that I have my distribute contents evenly turned off. Okay, good. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of some of these borders now because I find them a bit distracting, but hopefully that kind of helped you see how I'm laying them all out. Okay, and let me say none to this one. Okay, so now we've got a bit of a cleaner view. I'm going to select this container, and then I'm just going to edit the height. And let's say I want to make it, I don't know, maybe 250. Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get these 3 sections to be about the same size. So we've got 3 sections, and this one is, what height do we have here? We have edit height, so that's 250. Actually, what I could do is I could select this container, edit the height, and it's 6, so let's say 650. So 650 divided by 3, or let's say 649 divided by 3, or 648 divided by 3, so 216. So let's make each of these containers 216 high. That way they're all the same size. Let's see, so this is going to be 216 times 2. So this would be, what's that, 216 times 432. Okay, there we go. So now they're all the same size. Now I've got all this other junk back here behind the sheets. So if I go over to like my item hierarchy here, you'll notice Tableau has dropped in this tiled object. So this contains all of those extra things that nobody ever uses and everybody gets very frustrated with. So I'm going to right click on that and remove it from the dashboard. So now I've got that nice and cleaned up. Okay, so what I want to do now, if I flip back over to the original, is I want to have this like gray section around the top. I'm doing that because the top section is about pay and the bottom section is not. So I'm going to grab this container. Let's see, which one is it here? This container. And I'm going to set the background to maybe a gray. And that's fine. And I'm going to maybe add some inner padding, maybe like, I don't know, 10. And I need to set each of these sheets to be white because I don't want these gray. Backgrounds for the titles. Oops. Okay. There we go. And I'm, let's see. Okay, so how are we now? Now, I don't like how squished this whole thing is, so I'm going to make the dashboard a bit taller as well. Maybe something like that. But notice how nothing moved. I think it's because I have them all set to fix, let's see, this dashboard here. Or maybe it's this one. Let's see. Okay, this one is set to fixed height. And then I think this one must be set to fixed height as well. Okay, there we go. But what I need to do now is I need to select this container and then this container, and I need to redo my math. So let's edit the height. So let's see, 949 divided by 3 is 316. So 948 divided by 3 is 316. Okay, so this top one should be, what, 632. So this one. So edit height, 632. And this bottom one, I'm then going to make, oops, cancel, go away. What did I say, 632, so that's 316. Okay, it didn't really move it much, but I want to make sure the sizes are all good. Okay, so the last thing is I don't really, well, not the last thing, but I don't like how these are all pushed up against the edges. So I'm going to click on each of these objects and I'm going to add in some inner padding. Let me get rid of the outer padding, so let me set that to 0. And then I'm going to set the inner padding to like maybe 20. Okay, so let's set this to 0 and then to 20. This is a bit tedious. So 20, 0. I'm just trying to make it look a bit nicer. Okay, and then 0 and 20. Okay, something's wrong with my laptop battery. What happened here? Oh, came unplugged. All right, and I'm going to do the same thing for these sheets at the bottom. So let's set those to 0 and 20. 20, 0, 20, 0. Okay, great. Now, what did I do over here? Yeah, so, okay, so now I want to have a bit of space between these, between these sections as well. So I'm going to just double click this container and I'm going to go into my, I like the kind of gray around the outside of it. So I'm going to go to, actually, I probably could just go to each sheet and maybe put some padding back in there. So I want to do maybe 5 at the top and then 5 to the right on this one. Yeah. So, and I'm doing this one, I'm going to do 5 on the left. So 5 on the top, 5 on the left, and 5 on the right. The reason I'm doing 5s is because when I add, so notice now between the average salary and the average bonus is 10 pixels, which is the same thing that's around the edges. So I'm just kind of playing with the numbers to get it to look right. So this one, I want to do 5 on the top and 5 on the left. And now I got nice perfect padding around those. This one, I want to do, let's see, I want to do 5 on the left and 5 on the bottom. Okay, this one I want to do 5 on the left, 5 on the right, and 5 on the bottom. And then this one I want to do 5 on the right and 5 on the bottom. Okay, so now those all look really nice. And let's see here, what do we have? Okay, so I think that's pretty good. Let me just check over here and make sure that looks the same. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So now I need to go ahead and put my actions on. I believe that some of these actions I already have here. Yeah, so if I look at these actions I put on here before, I have these as applying to everything in the dashboard. So missing field on summary. Okay, sorry, I added this sheet later. This needs to have my, I think that's the field that needs to be on there. Dashboard actions. Okay, this one's going to switch between the, let's see, missing field on summary, department or employee. That's okay. And then this one has type filter. Okay, so I put the wrong sheet on the summary. So type filter should be here. Right, so now if I click on a box here, you'll see sales. It drills down into the individual employees for sales, and you see the number of employees and all this information on the upper right. Updates, and there we go. So we've got administration. We can click off again. If I click on customer support, okay, there we go. So now the one thing I haven't done is I haven't included the highlighting. So if I go up the dashboard and then actions, I want to add a highlight action. So just highlight, and I'm going to allow it to happen from every sheet except for the summary, and I want that to apply to every sheet except for the summary. And the field I want to base it on is this one that switches between the department name and the employee name. Okay, so now, and I want to do it on hover, so dashboard actions, and I'll do it on hover. So now whenever I hover over customer support, I can see where customer support ranks. Maybe if I put it in full screen, I can see marketing, where marketing ranks customer support, finance, administration, etc. If I click on accounting, it should drill down to accounting, and I can see maybe where Gabriel Ayala ranks in these different areas. So hopefully you found that useful. I know it's a bit quick, but hopefully you can always download the workbook. I'll include in the comments. I will include, in the description of the video, I'll include a link to the dashboard. I'll put it up on my blog along with the picture that I drew from Balsamiq so that you can see how everything is laid out nice and neat. Okay, I think that's it. Everybody have a good day.